Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, President Buhari signs 8.92 trillion naira 2019 appropriation bill into law, raises concerns over 90 billion naira addition to budget by National Assembly. INEC presents certificates of return to Zamfara State Governor-elect Bello Matawali and National Assembly members-elect in Abuja. Former President Goodluck Jonathan advocates electronic voting as panacea to the nation's electoral deficiencies. And centre-right and centre-left blocs lose combined majority in the European Parliament amid increased support for liberals and nationalists.
On Business News tonight, economist Ruwane calls for caution on the FCC's investigation of MTN's listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
In sports news, Banner Model from River State wins season 11 of the Channels International Kids Cup after beating Adetunji Primary School from Kwara State 1-0 in the final.
And from Abuja, Defense Headquarters raises concerns over weapon proliferation in NASARAWA State, says arms recovered from there surpasses those from Benue and Taraba combined.
President Muhammadu Buhari is concerned that changes made to the 2019 budget estimates by the National Assembly may adversely impact on economic recovery growth programs. The president expressed his reservations after signing the budget into law at a ceremony in the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. President Buhari, however, promised to engage the 9th National Assembly to address areas of concern while working to return the country to a January to December budget cycle. Our State House correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports.
The journey of the 2019 budget began in December of 2018 when President Buhari laid the estimates before the National Assembly. The presentation of what is tagged Budget of Continuity left tongues wagging for weeks. The legislature called for defense by ministries, departments and agencies, debated and passed the budget on the 2nd of May 2019.
Carried.
Here at the presidential villa, President Buhari signs the document, giving it legal backing. The figures have, however, been reviewed upward from the original estimate of 8.83 trillion to 8.92 trillion naira. President Buhari explains why and the likely effect.
This is an increase of 90.3 billion naira over our submission. This increase reflects changes introduced by the National Assembly. There were also certain areas where new additions were introduced into the budget. Some of these changes will adversely impact our programs, making it difficult for us to achieve the objectives of the economic recovery and the growth plan.
He, however, promises to engage the 9th National Assembly to address areas of concerns. At the end of the ceremony, the Speaker of the House of Representatives takes on the President on his observations.
The job of the National Assembly is not to agree with the executive. I don't think Congress anywhere in the world does that. By the constitutional design, the executive proposes what they intend to do, and then the representative of the people in Congress, so National Assembly, as is our own case in Nigeria, decides what is the priority, since they represent the people.
The budget is coming only days after the Budget Office says the economy has grown by 2.01%, the strongest first quarter performance since 2015. Meanwhile, President Buhari is set to declare his assets. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Bureau, Mohammed Isa, presented declarations form to the president. He promises to complete the forms, saying the Bureau is an important agency in the fight against corruption.
I assure you, I will quickly fill these forms and dispatch it
back to you, so that at the end of 2023, I believe there are a lot of people that will like to take it back on me. So please make sure you keep it safely, because there are people who thought they shouldn't be questioned, which are being questioned, and some of them are already in trouble.
The Vice President is also to get a set of forms. They are both required to fill the forms at the end of the tenure and at the beginning of the fresh one. From the presidential villa, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
Well, it looks like a busy day for President Buhari as he gives the Northern Governors Forum the assurance that something will be done to tackle the growing insecurity in the region. The Katsina State Governor Aminu Mazari, who spoke to State House correspondents at the end of a closed-door meeting with the President, said the governors obtained the assurance after briefing him on the situation. He listed the security challenges to include the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast, as well as kidnapping and banditry in the northwest and north-central regions. Governor Mazari further explained that the governors have offered suggestions on how these menaces can be tackled.
But of recent, what was known to be cattle rustling in northwest and some parts of north central has turned out to be something different from what we had before. So this concern made us come and brief Mr. President so that urgent action should be taken in order to curb this deadly menace of banditry, which is gradually graduating into insurgency. And you know the Northwest is a vast forest area going to North Central and even going out of Nigeria. So we need to act quickly and decisively so that it doesn't turn into something else like what we had in Northeast.
The President also today received South-South monarchs who paid him a courtesy visit at the council chambers in Abuja. The delegation of traditional rulers was led by the former Minister of State for Petroleum and paramount ruler of Amanayabo, Edmund Daukoro. There were, however, no details of discussions at the meeting, which held behind closed doors. The governor-elect of Zamfara State and other elected officials today received their certificates of return from the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. The INEC chairman and the presentation of the certificates challenged political parties in the country to rise to the challenge of internal party democracy and abide by the 2010 Electoral Act. According to Professor Yakubu, this will reduce the spate of litigations arising from faulty party lines. Our correspondent Lanre Lasisi reports.
The governor-elect of Zamfara State, arriving at the venue for the presentation of certificates of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, is accompanied by a large crowd who are here to watch the ceremony. 12 certificates are to be presented today. This event concludes a case that commenced as a result of improper party primaries and was decided by the Supreme Court. The INEC chairman outlines the importance of conducting proper primaries so as to reduce the spate of litigations that follow.
At the moment, there are 809 pre-election cases pending in various courts across the country, challenging the conduct of primaries by political parties for the 2019 general elections. This is clearly more than the total number of petitions currently before the various election petition tribunals nationwide, challenging the outcome of the main elections.
He says the Commission will insist on strict compliance with the 2010 Electoral Act as it relates to party primaries.
Going forward, we will not accept the submission of names of candidates by political parties under Section 31 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended unless there is evidence monitored by the Commission of compliance with the provision of Section 85 of the Act.
It is then time for the presentation. With the crowd cheering, other certificates are handed out. In his speech, the governor-elect agrees with the INEC chairman on the need for internal party democracy.
And as the chairman said, this is a bitter lesson to the political parties. We have and we must abide by the rules and the laws of the country in order to guard and to safeguard our democracy.
His speech marks the end of the ceremony. According to the Independent National Electoral Commission, 24 certificates will be presented to winners of the state assembly elections later in the week. Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Now let's look at the fallout of this development. Our correspondent Kayla Megwa is monitoring this situation and she's standing by and joining us live now from Gusau in Zamfara State. Hi Kayla, if you can just tell us what the atmosphere is like where you are right now concerning what's happened today.
Hi, Ijoma. Well, we've been here all day, and we took our time to actually go around the city to see what the mood is, because, you know, there has been a lot of things going on in Zamfara State in the past few months, and it's culminated in that Supreme Court judgment. However, there is a very calm in Zamfara State. It's not just something that was recently. We spoke earlier with the Secretary to the State Government, and he was telling us about the plans for this particular inauguration that will be coming up on the 29th they're talking a lot about how they're going to be working together with the PDP government, you know, to ensure that this particular inauguration goes very, very peacefully. And they're asking everyone in the state, the APC and the PD. Secretary to the State Government was saying us how he cannot wait to go back to the classroom by Thursday. He talked about some projects that started off with the Governor Yari administration, one of them being the State University, and how important it is for them, for the PDP Governor Matawale, to complete that particular project when it comes into power. He also talked a lot about the security situation in the state and how they have decided to work together. He's calling it an act of God, and that is how they are viewing the Supreme Court judgment, and they're saying that they're looking forward to an opportunity sometime in the future to serve the state in the best way that they can. But for now, working together to ensure that the inauguration is peaceful and that the next 4 years are peaceful for the people who live here in Zamfara State.
Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing Kayla, but if she can still hear me, just to ask her about the security situation where she is and what security plans there are for the inauguration, Kayla. Okay, apologies there for the problems we're having hearing her, but what she was trying to say was to tell us that the plans for the inauguration are going ahead. The new administration is looking forward to working with the state. It's calm right now. I was trying to ask her about the mood, as she did say it's calm and activities are going on according to plan. See whether we can get a bit more from her a bit later on. Now in part two, after the break, court fixes July the 15th to continue hearing of suit alleging 11 billion naira diversion against former Katsina State Governor Ibrahim Shema and 3 others. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.